Hello, my name is Terry Kenny, and I'm a surface water specialist with the Water Science Field Team. This video is going to demonstrate how GRSAT interacts with NWIS and ADAPS. As you're aware, GRSAT is a standalone Windows program that's on your computer. ADAPS and NWIS is a different type of system that operates on Unix servers within your center. Because GRSAT and ADAPS operate on different computing platforms, there's a need to take advantage of middleware, software that talks between the two of them. So I'm going to show you how to load data from ADAPS into GRSAT by using that computer middleware. So if I go to File, Open, I want to get data from the database. So I'm going to click on From Database, and that middleware becomes active, and GRSAT becomes iconified down in your toolbar. And so you'll see a command prompt show up on the left. You're not going to deal with that, and you're going to have a login screen that points to a specific database that you have access to. The database I want to go to is already set up in my NWIS properties. Once you have those set up, or your SA sets them up, you will typically not change them. So I'm going to click OK because I am going to the NWIS UT database. And you'll see this GRSAT data get window appear. I can go in here and type in the station I'm interested in. And when I hit enter, information comes up specific to that station. It tells me the name of the station, the Provo River near Hailstone, Utah, and it gives me the opportunity to select different data descriptors. I'm selecting the primary discharge data descriptor because that is where all of my ratings are associated. I have the ability here to select whatever ratings I'm interested in and pull them into GRSAT. I could select them all if I'm interested, or I could select just one. For this case, I'm going to select the first one because that's the active one indicated by the star or the asterisk. And I'm going to select, by holding down the control button, two more. So these are the ratings I'm going to get. I have the ability to pull in unit value discharges that have already been computed in ADAPS for a specific time period, and I can set that. So I'm going to say I would like to see the unit values after 10/1/2013. I could then come over here to the discharge measurement selection, and I have a few options here to exclude unused measurements or to use slope site discharge if available. I'm not going to cover that here. I have the ability to filter out the measurements by how high the discharge is. So I can say select all measurements with a discharge above a certain number. I'm going to set this to 1,500 cubic feet per second. Or I could select measurements by a date. So I would like everything over 1,500 cubic feet per second, and I would like everything after 10/1/2012. I can also decide to add stuff earlier if I wanted to. There's a number of control conditions here that I can filter out. By default, ice cover, control conditions that are associated with ice are filtered out. So shore ice and ice cover are gone. The rest are coming in, and that's typically what you're going to want to see. You want to see everything in there, and you're going to want to filter those out within GRSAT yourself. And so what it's telling me after setting these different parameters, that I am going to get 78 measurements out of 410 to come into my GRSAT session. Now, there's nothing wrong with bringing in all the measurements or many more measurements because you have the ability within GRSAT in the site visit data pane to filter out the measurements you don't want to see. So there's nothing wrong with doing that. So once I've set up my get data criteria, I'm going to click on OK. And you'll see it's going into the database, pulling up information. After pulling that data, I get this load data screen shown here, which essentially just lays out everything that was pulled out of ADAPS. And you typically won't be spending much time looking at this stuff, but you can scroll down and see what ratings were pulled or what rating dates were pulled, the shifts that came in, etc. But you can't change anything in here. You can just decide to cancel out or you can click Read the Data and it will show up in GRSAT. Now you have a working session in GRSAT with data that came straight out of ADAPS. You can perform the functions you are interested in, whether it be creating a new rating, extending a new rating, inputting a shift, creating a shift, etc. You can do that now. The next step would be to load it back into ADAPS by using that same middleware. So let's assume we made some changes and we are ready to send this information back into ADAPS. You go to File, Save, and we want to save this to the database. You do have the ability to save it to a file and it gets saved as an XML file, but that is not getting loaded into the database. So here we're going to save to database. The same middleware is being initiated. We're going to say OK. And it goes through this effort of putting stuff back into the database. We didn't make any changes, and so there's a message here that tells us nothing was changed associated with these different ratings and that sort of thing. But if you made changes, certain things would say it was changed, and other things would say they were not changed. You just click on OK. And now you're back into GRSAT. Keep in mind that we have now saved this session into ADAPS. If we wanted to make some more changes to this data, we could do that here, but we would not be able to save it back into ADAPS because of the way ADAPS keeps track of data that is pulled and put back into the database. The proper step is to close Aquarius GRSAT now and then re-pull the information from ADAPS so that you can work on it again and save it back to the database. And that is how GRSAT interacts with NWIS and ADAPS. Thank you.